then finds a sharp wire rope in the road, and there's a group of drag racers speeding across the road. If the wire rope is hooked, then the consequences are unimaginable. In a moment of desperation, the man had to pull the bar from the ground. He tried his best, but the bar wouldn't budge. He was about to lose his head, but at the last second, he solved the crisis. The bikers were given a mission. They were told to make a U-turn. The man saw another wire being pulled up in front of him. He rushed up to try and stop the tragedy, and then something terrible happened. It was a few days ago. Elliot received a phone call in his car. The caller told him he could receive $1,000 for swatting a fly. So he swatted the fly on a dare. Next thing he knows, he's got $1,000. At that moment, the caller told him again, if he ate the swatted fly, he would get another 3,000 won. He didn't immediately agree to such a disgusting request. Half-heartedly, he went home and checked his bank account, found an extra $1,000 in his bank account. So he took the fly out of his pocket. Eating a fly won't kill him anyway. As soon as he finished eating it, he got an alert on his mobile phone. He got a call telling him he'd completed the second level. There are 11 more challenges to go. If he completes them all, he'll get 5 million. Under the temptation of great wealth, he didn't keep his bottom line. The next day, he received the third task, make a child cry in 5 minutes and you'll get $5,000. But all the kids around him had parents, so he looked around for a single child. At that moment, he spotted a girl going to the toilet. He stopped the girl and said, "Your parents are talking about sending you to an orphanage." After the girl left sadly, he got a text message. Then he immediately called his girlfriend and was ready to leave the place. Suddenly, the girl's mother catches up with him and throws rubbish into Elliot's car. Guilt-stricken, Elliot went to church to confess, but then he got the fourth level of the mission. He was told to burn the crafts made by the blind children in the church. He sneakily carried the crafts outside the house, didn't watch the wind, and the whole church burned down. He set off the alarm. When he was about to leave, he received his next assignment, was told to follow the beggar and find an ostrich to trade for his clothes. His girlfriend was furious at Elliot's strange behavior, but the rules of the game forbade him to tell anyone, so he had to find an excuse to fool his girlfriend. The homeless man was soon discovered by the police because he had no clothes on, and there was one more ostrich in the police station. His next assignment was easy. Take a man for a cup of coffee, but he didn't realize he was a dead man. Elliot was in a dilemma. If he gave up the game now, would lose all his winnings, so he had to put makeup on the corpse, disguise him as a disabled person. He went into a coffee shop and pretended his friend was drunk. At that moment, the police came in, but they didn't notice anything unusual. They set her down behind Elliot. Suddenly, the body falls over and Elliot is shocked. The coffee is finally ready, but it's served to the police. He sees the end of his time, picks up the coffee, puts it on his desk. Then he took out his money and said, "I'll pay for it." The cops see that he's sincere, so they don't bother him. After he left the cafe, they said Elliot had done well, so they let him skip to task 7, but they said he was now a wanted man. If he completes the next mission, the charges will be dropped. Now he's on the hook. There's a dilemma, so he came to the 8th mission, opened the door and found a man sitting inside. He's a player. He's here to wait for Elliot. Then a nurse walks in. Elliot is again tasked to work with the nurse to cut off the man's arm. He thought it was too cruel to do it, but he didn't realize that the man had volunteered. In order to complete his mission, the man taunted Elliot. He had no choice but to fulfill the man's request. By this time, the reward had been raised to 250,000. With the money, the first thing he did is to hold a decent wedding with his girlfriend. However, he was given another assignment. He was asked to sabotage the wedding with his girlfriend. Elliot wanted to refuse because he did it all for his girlfriend, but he was threatened that if he didn't complete the mission, he would face 10 years in prison. By then, his girlfriend would be in someone else's arms. Elliot couldn't bring himself to face his family and friends down there. At that moment, the police arrived to arrest Elliot's brother. In order to cover his brother's retreat and to complete his mission, he smashed the wedding venue to pieces. That got the cops' attention, but the mystery man called again. His next task was to go back and surrender to the police. He had no choice but to do so. Then the police swarmed over him and subdued him. When he arrived at the police station, the commissioner announced all the offenses. While he was gone, Elliot removed the legs of the bench. Then he hijacked the chief to get out safely. Now the only way to clear his name is to complete the mission. Elliot then traveled to the next mission. This time, all he had to do was hang up the old lady's clothes. But then he turned his head and saw the biker again. Watching so many innocent people die, couldn't stand this cruel game any longer. He threw his mobile phone out in anger, decided to stop another participant in the game, but he didn't listen to his advice and drove off to do his job. Elliot followed him all the way, but he managed to catch up with him. But when he looked closer, he realized he was in his own house. He pushes open the door and his dad is home. Brother came out from the toilet. "So, He's also a participant in the game. Elliot asked him what the last mission was. His father gave him an answer. The last level is the same for everyone. Kill a family member. Turns out, he was in the game when he was young and he was the winner because he killed his wife with his own hands. Speaking of which, the father blamed himself. He wanted his son not to get caught up in the game again. So, he just killed himself. Elliot wanted his brother to give up the game and leave with him, but the brother wanted to win the game so badly, he pretended to be reaching for something, but he was really looking for pistol. The older brother could see him doing it. Elliot had to shoot his brother before he could. Looking at his brother's body, Elliot was devastated. At that moment, his mobile phone showed that he had received $5 million. Although he had won a huge fortune, but he lost his family. As he was about to leave, a police officer appeared. He began to clean up the crime scene alone. Elliot pushed his way in. He hated these game operators. He put a bullet in this cop's head. Winnings were wiped out for violating the rules of the game. His girlfriend received a mysterious phone call, but she chose the opposite.
What did you say?
Fuck off. Kyle.
If it were you, what would you choose? Let's see you next time.